So, and now, please write me in the chat if you can see the slides. No one is writing? Yes, you can. Okay. And you can also see them in the big version, right? So in the presentation mode. So just to make sure that it's for everyone in the presentation mode. Thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, that's actually, let me push the chat somewhere else so that I can still see it, but it's not disturbing me. So, 3 best strategies for startups, how to collaborate with established companies. And actually, this is working well. Thank you, Marco. So nice to see a lot of names I know from the daily work, actually. So, and you will have a very, very great view behind the scenes at the work at Elite Experts conferences. You will see how we made it all happen. So with all this super exciting guests and how this actually also helps startups and but not just only startups, but everyone who would like to push innovation forward and to work via collaborations. I guess this is the thing, when you start to create this kind of ecosystem, it always attracts people who have similar values. We will talk about this when it comes to that, what kind of value you need to share to be able to create networks like that. But first, let's look into the future. So the first half of the year is almost over. Today is the 10th of June. So are you satisfied with the positioning of your company? So of your, now let's say startup, let's focus on that. No? And what else will you have achieved by the end of the year in terms of business growth? What are your plans? And think also about this, how will you feel when you look at your business growth and collaborations? Will it be satisfaction, or could there have been more? Just a question for you, let's say, think inside, is this something that you will be satisfied with, or is there more potential, or could it be better? Because I guess when you signed up for that, this is maybe a very interesting point for you, and maybe even sometimes a pain point. So, and please stay until the end, because first, the technical partner, you will be able to set up your successful collaboration plan. You will know what kind of questions you will need to answer. And you will also know who are the right contacts for you in an established company, at least in the way how we do this. And you will also know how to use active and passive methods to increase your visibility and also the credibility, which goes usually hand in hand. And this has very positive impact on collaborations. And all this, and I will try my best, not just this theory, but with practical examples. You will also see that in the slides, it will be visually visible that these are the real practical examples out of life. And we will have also time for your questions. So please have another call in 30 minutes, Tom. That's a pity. That's a pity. You're going to miss it. So, and Tom is not going to win a bonus, because everyone who can stay until the end can win a bonus. And for that, you will need the chat. You can leave then the hashtag bonus in the chat in the end of the presentation. Then we will know how many people and so on. So that's not how it works, but I will remind you later on again. And now let's go one slide further. I guess you are here because, and I know that's not true for everyone, but usually because you are a startup founder, or you are a CEO of a startup, or you're a business development manager, or sometimes even CMO, who wants what? You want to increase visibility at scale, and you are a startup, so at reasonable cost. So cost is always important there. And you want to make the right sustainable win-win connections, and having also the marketing budget go very, very wide. So it's always about cost. No? So it's you need to plan tight. And you want also to build credibility, and you want to be seen and having the capability to deliver on your promises, because that is what sometimes or mostly the established companies have the fear that you cannot do this, what you promise, and yeah, the question of credibility. And you would like also to be ready for industrial scale production at needed quality requirements, especially in automotive business. It's a huge topic to be able to deliver actually at this high quality requirements. And you want also to be able to get to the right persons, whatever it means, inside the corporation. So that's to cover. Do you recognize yourself? At least some of you. I know that some are not exactly the profile I described here, but do you recognize yourself? Can I see that in the chat? At least some people. Yes, okay. Thank you, Mamad. I see your answer. So, oh, we have some more. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yes, very applicable for me. Yeah, thanks. Perfect. And then the next. And here's what we are actually going to cover. So now the technical side. You will know who is the right contact person in a global player company. And especially if you are aiming for long-term sustainable cooperation, so that usually it's a mistake to be chasing after busy business development managers. And actually we will see it later on why actually it's like this. We will analyze it. And you will also know how collaboration with other participants in the supply chain. And let me mention, it's not about competitors, how this can help you to gain both the visibility and access to the right contacts. Then you will also learn what is actually passive marketing and how you can use it to effectively use it to increase your visibility and credibility at the same time, and even without investing money. Okay, time is also money, but you know what I mean. Are you focusing on auto industry today or generally? Actually, it is something that you can apply generally, but with some examples definitely from automotive industry, because this is the main industry we are working with. Yes, and we will have definitely time for a Q&A part so that we can cover as many questions from you as possible. And now again, to the next slide. When we cover the people who are right in this workshop, this is the one side, but you can be also completely wrong in this workshop, because if you are super early stage startup and you will not be able to grow fast enough and actually to be able to scale as fast as possible, then this is not for you. This is a bit too early. This is the next stage for you, when you will be able to scale as fast as possible to be able to work with a global player. And if you're expecting magic tricks, then you're also wrong here, because let me tell you, sustainable win-win corporations, they are only possible when they are built on trust, and there's great human factor involved in that. Always when it's trust, it's always about human factor. And there's nothing like a magic button trick or something like that. So it's not going to happen. It's not happening after one call, one email, or even after one meeting. So it needs time. So I'm checking a little bit of the chat. Okay, yeah. So that just to see if something urgent happening there, but we will have time for the questions afterward anyway. And also, you are not the right person here for this workshop if you would like to continue to make your business by mass, let's say, because when you do as many pitches as possible, so as many sales pitches as possible, and this is working fine for you, then it's good, but this is not my strategy. This is not what I can teach you. So this is more about diplomacy and elegant methods of networking, and not about, massive upfront marketing and things like that. You will see also, I'm not coming from the marketing side. That's why maybe I'm not the right person to tell you, but the strategy which I'm going to talk about is more about really diplomatic, elegant methods of networking. So, and actually this workshop is also integrated in a huge new program, which we offer at Elite Experts conferences very soon. And this program, I will mention it, so definitely. So if you are like feeling annoyed or frustrated or upset, that we will mention this program after we give you a lot of valuable and free content, then it's also maybe not the right workshop for you. So just to mention it. So don't tell me afterwards I didn't tell that, right? But we can start then with the next slide. And here's, did I? No. Sorry, I went back. But we start now with my story, and I made a joke already here. My story is the relevant part only. Because it's maybe possible to fill books with that. So my background and so on, being multicultural person and having not the easiest or maybe the most boring life story, but this workshop is not about me. So just in short, maybe I'm half Russian and half German, and I was born in a Russian-German family in Kazakhstan. And as I was 14 years old, we moved to Germany. So my whole education happened already in Germany. And 6 years ago and 10 days exactly, I moved to Switzerland. And I have very, very technical education. So I'm chemist. I have a diploma, German diploma in chemistry. And I have a PhD in material sciences. And the whole sales and marketing, actually sales part I don't have at all, but the marketing part and the event management part is more like the icing on the cakes, because I did then further study already in Switzerland. This is my background, and my experience with the automotive industry is actually a very, very practical one. I was globally responsible for BMW Group and also for Fiat Chrysler Group for the R&D projects at Zika Technology, which is a Swiss company. It's an automotive supplier for very high level chemistry and especially adhesives. And now I'm the managing director at Elite Experts Conferences, and we define ourselves as a marketing platform. We provide invitation-only premium conferences and technology podcasts, which we also use as a marketing platform. You will see later on also how exactly. And let me show you a little bit of the behind the scenes view at Elite Experts Conferences. And actually we help both sides. We help the startups and the global players equally. And for both sides, we are building networks. We find the right cooperation partners, and we create the right marketing strategies for more visibility. Actually, really not just for startups, but for corporates as well. This year, even somehow more for corporates than for startups. But you will see also how we do this in a little bit of Robin Hood strategy, I would say. No? So, but yeah, we will definitely come to that. And yes, we help also professionals who are responsible for innovation and strategic growth in global player companies who come to us and they are looking for trends many years before they become trends. So really kind of technical trend scouting. So, and now you can guess, and now you can get active again in the chat. Now you can guess where this innovation usually come from. Can somebody make a guess where the innovation usually come from statistically? I hope you're not sleeping in the chat. Or do we have a delay maybe? Startups. Yes, Mawad. Absolutely right. And did I? Okay. Actually, somehow it's maybe I changed the slide. I don't know, because I will just not bother because of that, and we'll proceed with this one. Let me check one. Okay. Exactly. Okay. Why do we actually exist? And I was talking before about the values. And now I would like to tell you why we actually exist, so you will understand what is actually the driving force behind Elite Experts Conferences. We believe in progress through technology and innovations, and we believe it not just from the startup side, but also from the corporates. there are definitely also innovations from corporate side. And we believe that the greatest technical progress is possible through collaborations between the global players themselves and also between the startups and big corporations. And what we don't believe in is, we don't believe in B2B or B2C approaches. We just believe in human to human approach. And that's exactly how we built our network. And creating sustainable networks and connecting startups with the global players and helping startups and global players to grow is what is our contribution to a better world. And we build networks on different things like trust, kindness, help, meaningful connections. This is our driving force. And I guess when you imagine what kind of ecosystem you can create with that, and when you see later on also the real life examples, I think it's a beautiful world to live in. And I think that anytime when you start to work with somebody, you should always find the energy which is suitable for you. So don't be authentic always, and find always the right collaboration partner for you. If you feel there is something, there is no trust, not the same values and so on, don't go into this collaboration. So just stop it. Don't do this. But we will come to that also how. So, and to my previous question, yes. Oh, thank you, Elisabetta. I love the human-to-human approach. Yeah, me too. And actually, the majority of innovations statistically come really from startups. That is not something we like to tell you because you mainly come from startups. This is just a fact. And there are different ways how usually global players can tap this knowledge. You can have classic collaborations. You can have also innovation hubs, which is super modern within the last couple of years. You can have also startup integration programs because global players recognize that there's a huge potential and they started different programs. Some are successful, some are less, but anyway, they are existing. And there can be also acquisition of startup companies because, you know, not everyone would like to grow and produce themselves and build the next global player. Sometimes startups want just to grow to a certain level and then just sell the technology, let's say, to a bigger player. And there is this, if you want to, you can, philosophy of global players. We see a lot of examples when there is a technology which is so super interesting for them, so super exciting, they just make it happen. They open their business network, they open their logistic network, they help really the startup to grow with them, let's say, because this technology is so interesting. So, and now the title of this slide is where do the innovation come from, or the mindset question, but actually, why do we call this the mindset question? And this is because often startups think like, okay, we are smaller, we are not enough maybe, is the team good enough, are we big enough also as a team, do we have functioning internal processes, can we scale as fast as they want us to do, and is this technology really good enough, is this innovative enough for everyone, so for the outside world. So, but we see a lot of examples that yes, you are worth it. So you have really great technology, bring it to the world, the world needs it. So, and when anytime when a global player, when they notice, okay, this is really, really hot technology for them, they will make it happen. But it comes to you also to think, to see you value first, and then to think this, not just like showing up, but really internally to think, okay, I can make it happen. When you believe it, you can make it happen. And actually, this is an example, a quote from somebody from the automotive industry. Whether you can think you can or think you can't, you're right, Henry Ford. When somebody of you follows me on LinkedIn and so on, so it's nice to have this kind of inspiration and so on. But yes, is this something even if it sounds inspiring or motivating, is it really applicable in real world? So when we stop to talk about just nice, fancy quotes. But let's make it applicable. So when does a customer buy, or when does a collaboration happen? Let's analyze together. It happens when your collaboration partner, let's call them global players, when they're excited about your technology. That's first. When they really understand the scope of your technology, that's second. And when they see the big vision behind it, because how do you evaluate startups or companies in general? You do not evaluate them because of the technology which is applied nowadays. You are always evaluating them because of the potential there is in the market or the market share. So you are always looking at the future potential. So when they recognize this kind of value, then you are important enough for them to be a collaboration partner. And most importantly, when there's a sense of urgency. So when you see that you have a customer who would be perfect for that, but he doesn't have a sense for urgency, then they will be not so willing to cooperate with you. But if there is, because there is a challenge, or I don't like the word problem or issue, but a challenge behind it, then they will make it happen. And this is not just a perception of how you see yourself. This is facts. And actually, if you see also in the whole marketing sales books and so on, it's always like, okay, what is the definition of your ideal client and who would buy? Somebody who's really interested in your technology, what you have to offer, understands the value of it, understands the potential, and have the urgency to buy. Because we talk about collaboration, but actually what you would like to do is selling your technology. So I hope this analysis makes sense. You can agree or disagree in the chat. Give me some feedback and show me that you're still alive on the other end there and not bored. Agreed. Thank you. There's some really active participants. So amazing. Super. Perfect. With the smiley, always nice. Make lots of sense. Yeah. A real problem, clarity of the tech and vision. Yeah, definitely. Perfect. So, and then next time when you are looking for new collaboration partners, which questions do you need to answer? Start with that. What is the USP of your technology? And I mean, when you are a startup, you have done so many pitches already. You know your USP by heart. Even if I would wake up you in the middle of the night, you would know it. So what is the future vision of your technology? And think really big. Think about the potential. And who are you helping with your technology already now? And whose life are you making easier? This is the basis of every collaboration, of every value, because in a collaboration, you would like to deliver value, and to be able to deliver value, you should first analyze it, understand, and then live it. So, and here, and you notice also visibly, because of the green color, that here we see a Elite Experts Conference's real life example. And some of you who know the podcast, who know my LinkedIn presence, you recognize this person who is shown here, the Mark Jacobs, CEO at Molecular Plasma Group, who was the guest in the third episode of this podcast. And actually, and I mean, you are usually a tech startup. So let's talk about technology. The technology is actually super, super fancy because it's about low energy plasma, and you work with this plasma on the surfaces, and even when you have biomolecules on the surfaces, they would survive this treatment. And after this treatment, the material is much more able to be bond. And this is something that is really super, super hot topic in the bonding industry, or let's say in the automotive industry, in bonding technologies. And I was also coming from that field. So I was doing this at Dika Technologies, I mentioned before. And it was such a great opportunity to open all the possible doors for Mark at all the possible OEMs. And I mean, I was responsible for BMW and Fiat Chrysler. So guess who were the first contacts to be connected with him. And the point is, because this is not just a great technology, it's also a great value which he delivered with this technology. It was so obvious how happily people from OEMs were ready to contact with him and to make meetings and connect and start projects. And it was really, really amazing to see how it's really working. And also from the other side, from the supplier side, we could also connect him with directly with my past colleagues, let's say, and also with some competitors. Because if you work in this industry and you work for one company, what happens with your colleagues within, let's say, development of 5 years? They usually go, when they change to competitors, right? So, and it means your network is also growing in all the competitors' companies as well. So you can make connections because people stay in the same topic, in the same field. It was amazing, really. And I think we made this podcast, I guess it was May, something like that. So it was May 2020, and was really in the middle of pandemic time. And everyone was really concerned, like, how is it going to be? And pandemic, and the automotive industry was really in trouble in that time. And he started to hire people because they were growing so fast, and we helped them as well. And it's amazing to see that companies are growing because we made some connections there, and even despite the pandemic time. So it's super, super nice example. And actually already after the first hour we spent together, could make 5 valuable contacts for him right away, not even waiting until we did the podcast together and so on, because it was so obvious what kind of great value he really brings to the world, and no-brainer for me to help. And now, sometimes it's really like technical help, that you really open doors to technical world, but it's not always like this. And you know it also, that for startups, the next challenge is, or a challenge which is always existing, is also funding. And some people need visibility in investor circles. And we had this example also with Gianfranco Pizzuto, for example. He was the second guest at the podcast as well. And he's written founder at Automobile Estrema, but at this time it was not the case. They founded later on. At this time, he was looking for some sponsors for his Formula E team. He wanted to buy actually one first, or to enter and make a collaboration with somebody else, because there's limited amount of Formula E teams and so on. So it's not so easy to enter. But and also in the end, they could not enter, and they founded then a hypercar company. But it was, there was, for example, the request, like really visibility within the investor cycles, and also creating some more visibility in some other media and so on. So we connected also with some technical journals, so high-level premium journals and so on. So every project is completely different. When people come to us, there's always a completely different request behind that. So what kind of visibility, what kind of help, what kind of collaboration, but we try to cover that all. And especially for the mobility sector, we have some VC companies who are working for us in that regard. So they come to us and say, okay, within this time, we would need so many early stage startups. We would like to help with the funding. And do you have somebody suitable? And we try to let's say, scout, to search the suitable startups. And usually on the other side, the startups come to us and say, okay, look, we are looking for funding in this and that time, and we are this and that stage. And sometimes it's really suitable and it's really fitting. And sometimes it's not. And sometimes for very interesting reasons. Like just recently, a couple of weeks ago, we see a company said, no, we are not interested because this startup is already too advanced. So this happens also. They are amazing. I mean, not just from the technological side, but also from the growing and scaling, and they are really handling well. So yeah, they were then said, okay, no, not in this stage. They would really need somebody at the early stage startup. So for mobility sector, we are really well connected in this circle. So if it's relevant topic for you, then also can contact us in that regard. And now let's go further. The next question, because I promised you 3 best strategies, right? And we covered kind of one. So what is the basis? So what value you would generate and so on. So, and now is who is the right contact to, who is the right person to contact to? My question to you now, and now we are going to use the chat again. Who of you is tracking down all the business development managers of global players to talk about possible collaboration? Who does this? Who recognize your behavior now here? Who is always looking for the business development managers of global players when it comes to collaborations? I want to see some replies. Not the first choice. Okay, that's interesting. For me neither, but I would like to know. Okay, this is the other side. This is very, very nice that we met just yesterday. So I'm okay when I pronounce your name in the wrong way, Gwendol. You're right, like usually looking for the technical experts. Yes, this is one side to do so, definitely. But sometimes there is the problem that you do not get to the right decision makers. Sometimes the people are too technical, let's say, not too high enough in the management hierarchy. So, oh, perfect, I pronounced it good, so thank you. Yeah. C-level, a must-have, yeah, digital drivers, yeah. And my answer on that, let me put the chat window again back here. And I can tell you that what we experience in 90% of the cases, those guys are not the right persons to contact. And why not? I mean, some of you mentioned already that you would also see it in that way, so that they are not the right ones. Let's analyze it together. Yeah, what goals do the business development managers have? And here comes maybe the big surprise, maybe not, but business development managers want to form strategic long-term cooperations with who? With global players. So they have exactly the same goal like you have. And they want to secure large orders and projects whenever possible. Does that sound familiar? Do you agree with that? Yes. Edward? Yeah. Please make sure that some of you are writing just to me and other ones do not see it. Just click on to all participants and all attendees. Yeah, the technical R&D engineer will not have sufficient influence in the organization. Yes, sometimes sadly not. Yeah. And especially they will be also so busy with the daily business that you know, they need really high-level sympathy for your technology to be able to go in their organization and to be like a raving fan for your technology. This costs a lot of time and effort, and usually people don't do this. Yeah. But let's go one slide further, and let's talk a little bit more about the business development managers, because usually they have really immense workload and they work like 120%. And because of this high capacity of being busy, they do not have the time to learn about great new technologies and get to know new solutions for existing challenges. So also definitely not the right person to contact. And who are then the right persons? And we will make an example, actually. They are more or less newly formed. And when I say newly formed, I mean like, okay, in the last 10 years, this kind of departments, they are really, really increasing. Oh, sorry. I got a not so nice cold this weekend. So, sorry. Okay. So when we talk now, and especially we will talk now about the tier 1 suppliers, they have now newly formed departments, and the task of this department is to find out the latest technologies and to screen possible cooperation partners, and actually, yes, to identify the most promising ones. And actually, they care about the corporate and the startups world. And they also care about how to maintain good relationships with cooperation partners. And let me click further. We now make a real life example. And actually, this is really, don't take it as advertising or something like that. But we just take as example Bosch. And you will see here for Bosch, and also just the selection of departments which are relevant for such things. For example, Innovation Hub for a New Era of Mobility, Corporate Strategy, New Business Fields. Yes, that long name. Mobility Transformation, Bosch Grow Platform, Worldwide Identification, Incubation and Scaling of Bosch Internal Startups, at least internal, right? Or Open Innovation, or co-innovation and Bosch startup powers. So a lot of departments who really is the big goal for them is actually to screen everything what is new. And do you notice that this is something what changes the whole view? Not you are looking for them, but they are looking for you. And also for the relationship, this is a completely game changer. And not you chasing behind them and asking, could you please, and so on, but they are interested really to learn about you, and they have time for that, and they invest for that, and they get money for that, and so on. So, and very, very nice side effect of that is also depending on how innovative the company is and how urgent a specific topic is. Very often they report very high in the company structure. Sometimes even like in 2 months, once is a meeting with the CEO himself, when it's important enough and when it's an urgent topic and when it's a very, very urgent challenge to solve. So it means if you can make it happen that those kind of people who work for that like and understand your technology, it's much, much easier then to come higher to the decision makers who then would be the ones who decide about if it's going to happen or not, your collaboration actually, which is the goal of this workshop as well, right? Do you agree? Does it make sense? Silence in the chat. Yes. Oh, cannot pronounce that name. Abhishek, maybe? Please forgive. So, Marco, yes, makes sense. Inbound marketing, indeed. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people who agree. Thank you. And let me give you also another real life example, and actually made the title like research. This is Jochen Müller, who is head of technology and innovation and site manager at Bilstein Shock Absorbers. And why research? Because sometimes people come also to us and are interested in the very, very visionary view of everything what is possible. And actually, Bilstein Shock Absorbers, they are not a startup. They are a global player already. But they are exactly looking for people with visionary thinking who can give them an idea, maybe a fantasy even. Even in the discussion we had with him, he really said, like, I need somebody who would have this fantasy of future cars and how the shock absorbers could be, or maybe there is not such a thing at all in the future cars, you know. they need ideas which they can make happen, or make research on that, or proof of concept, and so on and so on. So, and usually those kinds of ideas come from people with this innovating mind, and a lot of them are actually in startups. So, and it can be really, really matching thing. And we actually connected him exactly with the Israeli startup, and it was really nice because sometimes the universe is really helping. The day he contacted me about that, it was exactly the day, and everyone who knows me from the LinkedIn activities, I do this daily news and facts, usually when I have time. I mean, the last time was not so regularly, sorry. But exactly that day, I made a post by chance about Israeli startup, and it was about technology, how you can have sensors, let's say. Let me explain it like I would explain it to my grandma. Sensors that you can really feel, like humidity and light and so on. So, and like creating intelligent roads and intelligent cars, and all the technologies connected and so on. So, and it was really fitting for him because he was also looking in this direction. So, and it was really no-brainer to connect them and then to start a project and so on. So, sometimes it goes from the startups, so that we have this kind of request, but it can also come from the corporates as well. And when it's matching and when it's really winning on both sides, then we make the connection. It's never like abusing one side and helping the other one. It's not going to work. I mean, it can work in the beginning, but you do not create sustainable networks like this based on something like, let's call it deception, let's say, But you really need to create value on both sides and win-win corporations. So let me use the time to drink something. And now we covered actually the second part, so who to contact to. And now we are going to the active and passive marketing for startups. And actually, let's start with active marketing. This is the easy one. So usually startups presence on social media. And nowadays, I really say it's mandatory that you have this, that you care about your social media presence. And there's always this charismatic something versus nerds. I mean, we had a lot of very charismatic persons from the startup area in our podcast, for example. And sometimes even the corporates ask, like, we heard your, or we listened to your podcast episodes, and so interesting, such really great, interesting personalities who really overcome something difficult, and really amazing challenges or difficult challenges. But actually, in the end, when the challenges are overcome, then when they are in the past, they make up very great stories, right? So, and really super inspiring for other people. I said, like, in our big corporation, there are not such personalities, but let me tell you, and we work on both sides, no? And I have always this kind of interviews before we go in the episodes for the podcast. Boring persons just don't exist. It's everyone has something, what is driving force for him, and where he or she can really talk for years about that, and it will be really interesting because this person really burns for that. So, and you can use this, especially as a startup, because sometimes you can be charismatic. Sometimes you will say, come on, we are tech nerds. What is charismatic about us? But you can create great, great stories. And usually in startups, people are more happy about what they do than when working at corporate. It's also, again, just sad statistics that people at corporate companies are not all so super satisfied with their job. And actually, you have this power as a startup that you really love what you do, that you have this higher vision and purpose and so on. I couldn't agree more. Thank you. Yeah. And use this storytelling because it's super, super catchy. And you can ask, okay, why is it so important for collaboration and how is it all related? But I mean, people who listen to your personal stories and can make a connection to that somehow, and we can always make a connection on the human level on that, they will never forget it. So you will always stay in mind. And there's something like social selling for business. Are you familiar with this expression, social selling, actually, at all? Oh, no, Edouard, that's not good that you will have to leave. Yeah. No, yep, okay. Some of you, yes, some of you no, but let me explain. Usually it's used for personal branding. So people who, like, for example, myself as well, who do very strong personal branding. And social selling is actually like this. You do not go and pitch and make sales, but you do something what you like and what you are maybe also good at. It would be great if it's both. And you do this without, now let's say, directly bothering other people. You just do it and you are visible. And you create this kind of awareness for the people that every time they know, let's make an example, like, for example, you do marketing service, right? And you're good at marketing services, you do this, but you do not bother people. And anytime when they need something like related to marketing services, they think about you because you are at the top of mind. This is how social selling usually for personal branding works. But something like this works also for business. So try to use it as much as possible. And when it's bound to storytelling, this is very, very powerful tool because people love stories. And there are many ways of contemporary marketing. For example, podcasts are also one great example for contemporary marketing. And I would really recommend you, when I see all the points I listed there, so like this social media and charismatic, something versus nerds and social selling for business, contemporary marketing, please get professional training for that. Because especially as a startup, you do not have a huge communication department who cares about everything, and you do not need to do anything just to take care about the technology. No, it's not like this. Usually almost the same people do this and that and a little bit of here and that. Get the professional training for everyone in your company so that you can really use every person as an ambassador of your brand, and that they are trained how to do this effectively. So how not to waste time on that. Because with little tips and tricks, you know how you can push your post, how you can make this and that visible. And this is worth it, because otherwise it's really like burning money, burning time. And time is even more precious. And believe me, small and supposedly insignificant details add up into effective marketing tools. It all works. And then it comes back really as a great result. So now let's explain the power of storytelling and emotions and the magic of authentic personalities with one great example. Actually, let me change again the chat window here. Okay, perfect. You see here the very first episode of the podcast we started last year. And we had the guys from Electron there, the CEO, Oren Ezer, and business development manager, Dr. Stefan Tongo. And it was an amazing experience with them. And we were talking also about the founding story. And really, Oren was talking about the story, how they made it for the first time happen, that the technology worked, and how they were like running around and hugging each other in the desert of Israel, and really talking a lot about those kind of personal experiences, how it was and how abstract it was. For example, that they started the project in Sweden, and actually just a little note on the technology, it's wireless charging while driving. So for EVs, which drive on the roads, and under the roads you have coils, and you can charge UEV, whatever it is, bus, passenger cars, trucks, and so on. You can charge it while driving. And here really explained in that way, so that they had in Sweden, as this project started or already proceeded, that they had snow and it was so abstract to see this still work and so on. And I'm so super sure, and I see also that there are some people who definitely listen to this episode. I guess, Mamat, you listened to that one. And everyone who listened to these personal stories, they will never forget that, because it's so catchy, it's so touching, it's so human, and you connect with people even, it doesn't matter actually how many kilometers are in between, and if you are related culturally to that person or not, you just bond. And yeah, it's something that, yeah, Mama writes, yes, he listened, amazing. Yeah, I know. Yeah, and you should definitely use this kind of power for you, and yeah, because don't underestimate the power of this storytelling, and also who are attracted to that. But we will come also to that for global players, it works exactly in the same way. And you will also learn why is our podcast set up in this way, that we have half of the questions, or more than the half of the questions, the technical part, and we talk about the trends and so on. But then the other part, we talk about the personalities and the challenges they overcome and so on. So there is a special hint on that. Yes, and the question is, do the same magic work for global players? And the answer is yes. Actually, yeah, we had quite a few super amazing, interesting guests also from the corporate world, like CEO at Polster, but I don't want to make this kind of name dropping. I mean, you maybe are familiar with that, but I mean, not with the name dropping, but with our podcast. And actually, I would like more to show you some stories behind that, and how we came up, for example, with different guests, and how it was all created. And yeah, maybe also there will be time to tell you the anecdote behind the first episode with Thomas, actually. Yeah, there's definitely more to know and more to reveal behind the scenes of Elite Experts conferences. Yes, then the title of this slide is actually Sustainability in Marketing, how marketing for global players helps startup. I mean, it's obvious, right? We have a very inspiring and interesting and high-level person as a guest for the podcast, and they use it also. So Polster greatly used this also on their social media channels, because we always announce the podcast that it will come, and then when we release, we announce again that it was released. No? So they did really this kind of double job. So because you see on the left side, this is the released one where Andrew is posting, and the other one where the Polster channel itself was used, it was like coming soon. So it was just the announcement that he will be the guest, and we work together behind the scenes on the questions and so on and so on. So it's really obvious how it works. No? So it helps us also for credibility, visibility. It helps them also for the channel. But how does it help the startups? But look, when we have then the next guest, it always comes to more visibility for every startup. So every time we have the next guest, everyone is checking, okay, this kind of podcast, maybe they're familiar with that, maybe not, but they start to listen, maybe they like it and so on. So, and when they come, and they are definitely more attracted to the VIPs first, but then they stay and they understand how the concept works, and that we bring always some innovative technologies and present there and so on. So it really works hand in hand, so that it's really, really helping everyone. So every next guest brings a lot of visibility for the previous episodes. We always see when we release a new episode, we always see increase in views and in listening, let's say, or downloads for the previous ones. And this is really amazing. And sometimes, like, okay, I listened this one and I liked then the other one, and somebody is contacting me and said, like, okay, we are interested in the technology you presented here. Could you make a connection here and there? So it really works also sometimes months afterwards. And actually, the nice example I showed you previously with Oren Yeza and Dr. Stefan Tongor from Electron, it was also like, I think it was like 2 months afterwards, somebody from my contacts, from my network, listened to this episode. And I guess it was also somehow after the next release or something like that. So anyway, it was after a while after the podcast was released, and this person contacted me and asked, like, we are interested in this technology because wireless charging while driving would be interesting for racing as well. So because this was somebody from the technical side from racing, and we connected them, made a meeting and so on, and they were really starting to make a study. So because it's a difference if you do this technology or if you apply this technology in a city where you have 50 kilometers per hour, or you do this for racing like 300 and more. No? So it's a technical challenge. And actually it was a technical challenge, but anyway, they started to collaborate, and it all came because of the podcast. And for Electron, it was really interesting that they never thought about application in this field, in racing. And it happened just magic. Because what we did for them in the general partner, so it was really like contacting the government part, because you do not own the road, but you would like to apply this technology, so you need the government contact. So basically we did this for Germany, for example, right? So, but the request can be very, very different, but we use it also like, okay, how can you also kind of use the visibility of a VIP for startups later on. And there are more examples on that. This is I call it just like a joke, like Robin Hood strategy. You like that name, or you have another one? So I don't want the chat to sleep, so please tell me something. And don't write like something. So nice name, yeah. Marco, thank you. So, and the guest in the 8th episode was, for example, Yang Vaso. This is very super interesting story, because this is also, yeah, let me tell you actually why we do this. 2/3 of the podcast are more about the technical question, technology, and also trends in the industry, especially when we have high-level people, so that we have their view how this will all develop in the automotive industry. But there's the last part, the third, let's say, about the personality. Robin Hood is associated with some trivia. Yeah. Okay, maybe we need to change that name. Let's see. Or we make personal branding on that, and then it's the other branding will disappear. Yeah. And actually, the point is why we do this, and why we talk about the personalities, and why we ask them about the challenges and what was, I don't know, the most challenging part of your life, or did you have any kind of mentors and things like that. So people really open up and tell us things they maybe never told before, and especially not to like kind of strangers or to a journalist or things like that. No? So really, and we had it also in the previous section with Thomas, for example, and it was exactly the same. He was even joking, like maybe studying design was not the right decision. So, and listen to it and you will understand why he mentioned it in that way. And for somebody else, it's different. For example, for Yamaso, he was talking about very challenging time for him, actually professionally in Russia, as he was leading Autovaz, and it was not such a great success. So from the business point of view, he was really expecting that he would grow the numbers and so on, and it just didn't happen. And he was really feeling like a failure, like personally. And he was really opening up in the discussion and really telling that, and how he also learned to separate that, so that you are you have your professional role, but you have also your personality, and they are not super related, and you are not a failure in all the sectors. So, and actually, because people connect with the content we create so personally, they are so much willing to make marketing for that. Okay, here you see the example, Pierre Olivier. This is actually, he was at that time, it was still PSA Group, now it's Stellantis, right? But he was the corporate responsible for communication. And He was also supporting that, but also Yamaso himself, and on all the media. Actually, it was even before we started with the podcast, it was not even mentioned that we will put it on their website or something like that, but they did because they loved it so much and they did it. So it's also, again, marketing for both sides. And we use it again then for the startups as well, for the visibility of the startups. Because we try always, like when we had some of the startups presented, that we try also to involve some corporate people, again, some VIPs, so that we have, again, some kind of balance, and always trying to handle this balance. And look, also Group PSA, or nowadays Stellantis, right? So they also used it for their channel, and you see here also the number of followers, so what it means to be presented in that way. So, and it always comes back to the support for the startups episodes as well. And here's also a very, very nice story from the background, is that after this episode, a lot of corporates contacted us and said like they have difficulties to contact ACC since months, for example, or to contact that person, because it was known that ACC will be found, and it was known who will be responsible for that, and so on, and some companies who would like to have collaboration with them. So also from the global player part, they were super, super interesting. They were chasing him and he was not responsive, but they asked us, okay, can we help? And I said, and always when we have this kind of request, it always goes like, okay, what would be the value for the both parts? And I mean not us, but I mean really Yamaso or ACC, what he presents, and the other part, let's call them just unknown, anonymous global player. Because really cannot tell you often enough. So when you want to create a win-win collaboration, it needs to be value on both sides. It needs to be a real win-win collaboration. Otherwise, it's not going to be sustainable. And then, okay, we found something, because this global player, they have a very, very nice platform, which I really totally support. They try not just for themselves, like to do this as marketing, but they have a knowledge exchange platform, which they use to invite very important people to talk about different trends and so on. So kind of very similar, but they are struggling to make it really premium. And they asked us to help with Yamaso at this platform then. No? And here we could definitely see the value for ACC as well, because they just started. When we talked with them, they were just like 2 or 3 months, Yamaso was 2 or 3 months in this role as the CEO of ACC. So super new, and they wanted also to make it visible, so to show what is the mission and what is the vision for them. And they also said, okay, they have PSA or now Stellantis, right? So as a coming customer, but they would like to expand more, and this message needed to be out there in the world. So, and we said, okay, we see this matching point for this knowledge collaboration, knowledge transfer platform, and really connected them. And in that way, just a life hack for you. If you would like to reach a very super busy person, and CEOs are always super busy person, especially CEOs of big companies, do it on Sunday. Wrote an email on Sunday morning. 2 hours later, I got the reply. Yes, he said yes. He was interested to participate in that platform. And it worked. He made the talk. I joined the whole webinar myself, and was really great value also on both sides. So for this kind of visibility, but also for this global player to have at least the first contact with him. And yeah, this is how it always starts now. And now they are starting to collaborate, or not collaborate yet, but at least they start to talk with each other. That's what we already know. And, you know, this kind of things, this is, and also we did not do this like business or something like that, this kind of connection, because it was really like helping both sides. And this is what we do generally. And I can really suggest you, and we will come to that as well, help as many people as possible. So as soon as you see a possibility that somebody is really matching matching key point for somebody else, do this connection. And it will generate even more super suitable connections for you. So just a life hack. So I hope it's also useful for you to learn how to contact high-level people. So notice on Sundays. Yeah, it's crazy, but they are still online and they're still checking their emails. And actually, here's again one really nice real-life example. A lot of you know him maybe from the LinkedIn activities and so on, Dr. Wilhelm Graupner, who is Executive Director and Business Strategy and Sales Marketing responsible at AVL for Northern Europe. And he also comes to this podcast, for example, to look for collaboration partners, to look for trends, but not when they are already trends, because for him, for business strategy and so on, it would be already too late. So he comes really to learn what is new, what is coming, where are interesting startups and so on. And he has also very great fable also for startup technologies and so on. And with some people, we really communicate on a daily basis. Know exactly, okay, we give value, this kind of information, something new and so on. You can check it actually. When I do my news and facts, he even asked, okay, he would like to see every post I do every day, because it gives him value to know what is happening in the world, because I give also some posts which are not so generally known. So especially when I point out what kind of collaborations we have in the automotive business, so between especially startups and global players. This is maybe one of my most important inspiring topics, which I usually cover also in news and facts, because those are great examples of great potential actually in this industry. So, and it's really nice that we can really collaborate on that and help startups also to grow in that way. So, and we made already some connection in that way. And he sees the value for that, and we see it as well, and for the startups as well. So it's like win-win-win on every point. And now we come to the passive marketing for startups, right? So, and what is actually passive marketing? This is how do you position yourself as a startup company, as a brand, as a technology provider in the relevant business media, such as professional articles and high-profile journals. And also here, we have a very nice example, which actually is based on our work, because it's about a startup, and we made this connection. Steve Tengler is actually somebody who writes really nice technical articles about connected cars, artificial intelligence, autonomous driving, and so on. And we had contact with super inspiring startups. It was so visible that this kind of technology is so great. It must be visible in this world. And we made this connection, and like also he has chosen this nice picture of the puzzles in this article. They both were also super, a match made it happen, let's say. We made an introduction. They met for half an hour first, and it was definitely clear from both sides that this is going to be a great article. Then they met again and did it. And actually, he also even paid attention that it will be published, and it was published in beginning of January this year. So he made sure that it will not be published in December, because there's not such a high visibility because of holidays and so on. And it was really, really great value to them. And actually also for him, because he has something inspiring to write about. And you should always consider as a startup how you can get to this kind of visibility to such people, and try to publish something very valuable in such high-level articles or such high-level media. Can be in US, can be in Europe. So find your niche, find your journal, which would be perfect for you. And also know who is perfect contributor for what you would like to talk about. Because when I do, for example, my research on news and facts for the post on LinkedIn and so on, read a lot of such articles. So I know the style, how people write. I know who is writing about what and who generates, let's say, great value for me as well. And then there's no brainer just to connect people with each other. And very, very nice example. Wolf, are you still there? Because you will see then the nice recent example from yesterday, from the event yesterday. Make a note in the chat if you are still there, because I know that you needed to leave earlier. And actually, yesterday I moderated an event, Sustainable Mobility. I moderated the panel Autonomous Driving, and also asked actually exactly the same technical contributor, Steve Tengler, and he said, yes, it's exactly this, the topic for him. And I mean, I knew it, right? This is why I asked him that it's exactly his topic, and he's going to write an article about that. And yesterday's event was bridging Israel and German startups and bridging OEMs and startups. So it's great that it could be supported in that way, with a little bit of more passive marketing tool, let's say, or methods. And now let's summarize together what we did actually. So we talked about how you start. You think about your value, you think about your USP, you think about your technology, your mindset, and who are the right contexts. So try to think unusually. Yeah, 600 auto tech startups companies in Israel. Amazing, exactly. But also to mention that you do not have automotive industry in Israel at all, right? And this is so great how you contribute to this industry still. Yes, correct. So second point was, who are the right contexts? Think unusually. Exactly, we only develop, no production, yeah, correct. And the third point was visibility, and then also active and passive marketing tools. And the key point, I mean, let's break it down. So what is actually the basis of what I'm kind of teaching you or explaining you? Stop selling, start helping with what you have, with technology, service, whatever it is. Be kind. Help as many people as possible. I don't know, call it karma or whatever you believe in, but it will come back to you, and people will perceive you as a helping person, and you will be a helping person, and you will also get some help. So just make it authentic, not like playing a role, but just be it. Live it or live it. I hope you noticed my pronunciation. And please, no deception. So just pure wish to help with your technology and service. So it must be for a win-win collaboration. It must be value on both sides. Otherwise, it's not going to have a future. It's not going to be sustainable. And you want to have it sustainable, and you want to have it future, right? And actually, I told you that I was going to mention also the program which we are starting, and you see now as the first person here, I mean, except the team. So Elite Experts Conferences Business School for Startups is starting soon. And yes, definitely. I mean, we will cover all the topics which I showed you, but you can already take and use the tools which I showed you, and it will work. It will already work. You can work with us one by one, but it's super high investment, and it's super expensive, and I guess it's not really suitable for startups. Or you can use this business school, because this will be also with group coaching, but also individual coaching. And actually, it's definitely a simpler, more efficient way how to do collaborations, how to plan strategically. Let me tell you a little bit about the program. I'm always playing here with the chat window, sorry. So, together we will work on following key points. Let's go through them. So we will learn together how to define your strategy for future collaborations. And we will not just learn it, we will actively implement it in reality together. And you will get in contact with experts you could not get in touch with, because yes, it is true, we can open a lot of doors. Because imagine when you come in contact with somebody and they see, okay, you are a startup company, it's already, and then they notice that you would like to sell something, it's again like, okay. And for us, we are neutral. We are even based in Switzerland, right? We have to be neutral. And we are a knowledge transfer platform. And we ask different questions. So we do not try to sell something. We do not try to get something from them. We just try to exchange knowledge, and we are interested what is happening in the industry, what they have to tell us, if they would like to tell us some kind of challenges or pain points and so on. For us, it's super easy to get to this kind of, let's say, knowledge. And I know that for you, it's different because we work with startups and we work with corporates. And believe me, it's also complicated for corporates as well to get some useful information from other corporates. So it's a brutal world. Neutral. Okay, yeah. Just checking a little bit the chat. So, and you will also learn how to use digital marketing methods successfully. I suggested you that you should get professional training about that. I do not get the question which is written here, Nick. How about collaboration between startups? You mean startups with startups? Yes, definitely. But this is the easy one because you have like kind of the same corporate culture because you are open-minded and so on. This is no-brainer. This is super easy usually. Yeah. And you will also learn what kind of marketing tools you can use and use effectively, and you will not waste time and money for that. You will just learn what is really working. And this can be used for the next search for technology partners, but it can be also used for looking for investors in the next funding round, which is also a very huge topic for us, right? And yes, quality over quantity. You will also discover how efficient networking works and how to build and maintain a premium network, because you want to have decision makers. You want to know exactly that this person you are in contact with can really decide if this collaboration is going to happen or not. And yes, we will help you also to get access to existing platforms in automotive industry and to generate your own knowledge exchange platform if you want to. It's not necessary. You can use also already existing ones, but you can want also maybe to, and there are good reasons why, to open up your own knowledge exchange platform, and we can actively help you to do so. And actually, yes, exactly as a result, let me skip that actually a little bit, because I would like to come straight to this slide and tell you this will be 5 modules which will take place within 8 weeks. And the start will be right after the summer, so it will be August the 30th, so that we do not waste time, and when all the business are restarting again, that we can start away. Actually, we do not do this as a summer school. It was a thought to think about it if we should do this as a summer school, but no. Because for all the global players, usually August is not such a nice month for collaboration, or actually for work at all. So a lot of people go on holidays, and not the best way. At least in Europe, it's still like this. Maybe it's in US different, but yeah, we do not do this in Europe here. And each week there will be a live digital meeting with Dr. Ludmilla there, that's me. Hello. And there will be a lesson, let's say more or less short lesson with me, and also a Q&A part with you to answer you specific questions, because mostly there will be like group coachings, but you will get also individual coachings as well, especially when we will come to this highlight of the program. And the highlight of this program will be a panel discussion with your potential collaboration partners. And especially when you have somebody in mind who is really like complicated person to get in touch with, or person or company, you know what I mean, no? So, and this we will release and promote as part of our podcast. So we will also help you with this marketing platform, which we establish and which really enjoys high popularity in this technical and also management world. And we will help you to promote your technology within this. So it means you will really get in contact to very high level people and will be able to start at least the first communication. And the huge advantage of this will be that you do not start from selling point. You do not approach them because you would like to sell something, but you do this because you would like to talk about technologies, trends, and so on and so on. So we completely put out the whole selling component out of the discussion, and it helps really to break the ice and to start people to talk. And here again, because this will be in this podcast frame, and you know it, as I mentioned already, like several times here in this workshop as well, we always have also these kind of personal questions. And when the personal questions are on both sides, people connect also with each other on that way, because you will see some similar things which the people from the corporate world experience, and they will see also something similarities. And on the human, as different as your daily work might be as a startup or as a global player, as similar as you are as humans. And this is, let's say, the basis of this is, again, it's human to human collaboration. And it always comes back to humans. It always comes back to trust. This is the basis on what we built the collaborations. And then again, the whole storytelling and magic of authentic personalities and so on, it will all come there into play. And we will do this as this whole program, and you will be guided by us, and you will not be left alone. So the 5 modules are actually, brand positioning and networking strategies tailored for your startup to create long-term win-win collaboration with global players. The second module is positioning through articles in the prestigious technical media, plus insider knowledge on how to publish successfully. Again, in the chat, for me, was easier to find person and companies than, And the second model will be really like, at best would be if we can, even within the 8 weeks, if we could publish an article and release it even. This would be best, but at least learn how to do this and who are the contacts and how to approach and so on. But the best result would be to actively do this. And the third model would be concentrated knowledge about digital marketing. So really practical implementation without wasting time. When I'm on LinkedIn, I'm not wasting my time. I know exactly how to publish, how to release a post, how to make it successful, how to make marketing for our guests, how to make marketing for our clients, and so on and so on. So there is no wasting factor anymore. But it's all based on professional coaching with that, and always knowing how the algorithm works and how it changed and so on. So the fourth is knowledge exchange platform, which means you have the decision to make: building your own platform from zero with our help, or getting access to an existing one. And actually, believe me, every time when we work with somebody, when we collaborate on this kind of value basis, we never let the startups alone afterwards. So every time when we help somebody or we made the connections, and we know, we understand the technology, we understand the needs, we understand the pain points, we help also further after the programs are ending and so on. So anytime when somebody is asking, like, can you connect me with this and that person, we will still do this, even if you are not in the program anymore and so on. So because this is when you believe in what you teach and what you tell here and so on, you have to live it also every day, not just within the program or not just within the paid services and so on. So, but just at the age of this workshop. And module 5 is preparation and execution of the panel discussion. So this is the highlight of this program. And you will have really the real life opportunity to have this kind of panel discussion without the selling component with your potential cooperation partners. Maybe even the most challenging ones, because sometimes really say, come on, don't give me the easy examples. Give somebody who is really challenging to get to. And and it helps. And maybe another day I will tell you some more behind the scenes details, because there are a lot of hidden details and how we came to that and so on. But let me first also mention there is also a bonus for the fast movers. So today at 5 p.m., so very soon after this workshop, you will get, or let's say we will start with this bonus, and you will get also an email notification with the link there. So where you can check the program and see if it's something for you. And if you decide to sign up within the first 24 hours, then just right at the beginning of the program, and not just in the end when you usually will have this individual coaching, you will have already a bonus coaching with me so that you have the best start at this program. But it means really that you need to sign up within the first 24 hours. So, and also let me mention the bonus for today, for showing up in this workshop, and also for staying that long. And I mean, I see still, okay, I knew that somebody will leave earlier because it was already mentioned per email or a message before, and I knew that not everyone can make it, but a lot of you made it until the end, and thank you that you did, because we are now at the end where you can ask questions and so on, so about the program, how it works and so on. And yeah, please make a hashtag bonus if you would like to have a one-to-one coaching with me, because that's what you can win. And it will be not the theory, because theory now you understand, because I did reveal everything what we use. Let's say there's not any kind of deception. There is just thinking outside of the box when it comes to networking, when it comes to cooperation, who to connect with who, and so on. So there's no, let's say, no tricks behind that. Maybe some magic, but not tricks. Positive magic. So please write it in the chat, at best for everyone, not just to me, if you would like to participate and get your bonus. Well done. Thank you, Nick. So, give me your questions. It's already a long time ago that I really talked so much non-stop and just listening to me, and poor you. Actually, regarding the bonus, you can also write just to me. It doesn't matter. I see some are writing just to me. It's okay. Yeah. That's your opportunity to ask questions. Yes, questions about the program, or maybe you have a current challenge regarding networking, regarding collaborations. For example, in one current meeting, we had somebody said, okay, we would like to get to this and that OEM. Will not mention the name, but how would you approach that? So we are trying since months. How would you do this? And I answered this question. So if you have something like this, so yeah, just how do you break the ice with leads? How do you achieve a reply to an email message or email? Okay, I have actually several approaches to that. If I never write, when I connect with people, I usually never write this short invitation message when I'm not connected with that person, for example, on LinkedIn. Never do this, and or mainly never, I would say 90% I don't do this, because if you, for example, don't do this, and the person still see on your profile, and actually your profile should be good, right? It should be visible why there is relationship possible, professional relationship possible with that person. It should be visible what are the common interests, right? And I do not write this message like, let's connect, I'm working on that, you're working also on that, and so on. I think it's stupid, because when the person sees my profile and see, okay, this is valuable and the same industry, and let's say, and the person is open-minded and open to collaboration, for example, then you see already just by them clicking on connect, If they don't do this, okay, it's okay. But this is for me like the first test for somebody, if this person is willing to talk and collaborate and so on. We never pitch like sales pitches or something like that. And sometimes I get even surprise message like people connect with me and or I ask for a connection, and then the first reply is like, okay, you would like to offer me invitation only conference or something like that, so go on with your pitch. And so, no, sorry, I don't. And then it shows you already, okay, what kind of person it is and how open-minded somebody is to collaboration or also just exchange of knowledge, which we also do, because we have also a lot of people, experts, high-level people who are just in the network for giving knowledge and giving us some valuable information about different things, because we are not trained in everything, but we have our research on certain topics and so on. So we need also just like pure knowledge exchange as well. Starting with current. Then they do not need it. So I just read the message. I struggle with current uncommitted communication practices, people who do not answer to the message, no matter how relevant or kind. Okay, relevant is always measured by you, right? So you think it's relevant for them as well, but you cannot know the other person. And usually it's not about you at all. It's in business, it's never personal. It's just the priority of that person is not in this topic now. And it's okay. You have just to accept it, let's say, and not be pushy. Don't be pushy in that. When somebody tells no on some topic, or you notice like you would like to talk about this and that, technological topics and so on, and the person is not willing to talk, no, go to somebody else and look there. Or but you can still follow up, let's say, not give up on the first trial. That's, I wouldn't do. If it's important enough, make a second question. And actually, sometimes we get also like replies, oh, sorry, I was so busy, I was not able to check for some weeks or so the LinkedIn profile, for example. But sometimes it's even better to communicate with people via LinkedIn, because I don't know if it's because of the picture that you see the person who is contacting you, but it's somehow more personal. So people tend to answer it, and to answer it even faster than when it gets to their email account. So we had really a lot of examples where it was working even more efficiently when you really try to communicate via LinkedIn. Some other questions as well? Or did I answer all of that? Because the first one, Mamat, you had several ones. How do you achieve? Actually, the approach which we usually use is really to shortly explain what is the value for the person. Like I did, for example, with Jan van So, right? And then it was really visible. Or and also, for example, with Polestar, I never asked Thomas Ingela to be a guest in our podcast. I can tell you that. I never asked that. I was communicating with the head of communication, with Andrew, and we talked actually about putting Polestar in a more contemporary marketing and so on. But I actually asked for somebody more technical, so from the technical side. And Andrew loved the idea of this podcast so much, and of the positioning and of the brand and everything, that he said, you know what? He noticed, and how kind of him, he noticed that Thomas was not so much involved in this kind of contemporary marketing, and he wanted to push it a bit forward. And if he could make it happen, that Thomas would participate. That's actually how it happened, and how he then did participate. Yeah. But again, it was nothing pushy. It wasn't just showing what could be the value for them. Let's say contemporary marketing, visibility here and there, and what kind of brand positioning. So really always point by point showing the people what could be the real value for them. And also, for example, with the episode 9, where we were talking with several head of designs about the future of automotive design and so on. So it was also like giving value to them and showing what we are usually talking about, how it is interesting for them and how they could contribute, and was super, super interesting how willing they were also to collaborate on that, and also that it went further and further. And we had also some experts actually behind the scenes who were helping with the questions and so on. So it's really, really nice. And also nowadays, we help a lot with some information. And just recently saw something very valuable where I knew exactly, okay, for Albert Johann Ketzinger, for him would be a super, super valuable information. And yeah, just write a message, give value. And he almost instantly wrote back, that's super, thank you, and so on. And also, very nice example of giving value in a very neutral way, but also when you know exactly that it helps on both sides. It's with Jan Manceau, because ACC is known for battery cells, right? And they would like to position themselves very, very innovative. So they are super interested what is happening in this market. And because of the podcast, because of the work together behind the scenes and so on, there is kind of common value, giving value atmosphere, let's say, and not just publicly, let's say, but also behind the scenes, and also with the heads of communication there at ACC, or also at PSA, because they belong to this group, and so it was connected. And nowadays, when I see, for example, in my news and facts posts, when I see something which is valuable for Jan, for innovative startups, and a lot is happening now in the battery space, when you know this. So I give him a hint. So I just write a comment for him, tag him and say, Jan, look at this and that. Please check, it can be relevant for you. And he says, thank you. So this is really a value for him, because such a person, they do not have time to look for all the new things happening in research and so on, but those things can be still valuable for him, or for them. And try to give value and try to give more than you expect back, or actually don't expect back anything. So no expectation, just giving value. That's maybe the best approach of that. Some more questions? Otherwise, I'm leading my discussion myself. Do you have some more questions? Because we are actually over time. I mean, I'm prepared for that. So I have a lot of water here and some additional water there. And yeah, I can answer some more questions. So just be brave enough to ask. But you can also ask to me. So, and also what's also possible, you can also ask afterwards. You can also write an email if something you would not like to mention in the chat. I mean, we're all different. So somebody can be maybe more introvert, so it's okay, absolutely. So just can communicate later on also via email and so on, or also on LinkedIn. So feel free to ask later on. Otherwise, if it's nothing else, so then I even, let's close then the workshop, and you will get a notification about the link, about the starting program and so on. And it would be really nice if we see each other, and if you can have really nice, interesting group, and we'll be very happy to guide you through all the challenges of networking, of collaboration, and let's make it happen. Let's bring you closer to your goals. Thank you, Arash. Thank you. Thank you, Elisabetta. Thank you, Joan. Thank you, Mamad.